And are you cooking in a clay pot?
Yes, it's a clay pot, and I had so I had soaked. So I'm going to use almost 15 ratio, 1:15. Dr. Khader himself has sort of now, he used to say 1:10 is enough, but then now he says that we should drink. And to drink, he said use even up to 1:15 ratio water. So I had about three, and I think I put five more cups. I was talking to Srini and I lost track of how many. I think I put like, but you can approximate.
Bill फाड़ो
So
मेरे से bill
it's
फाड़ो अभी.
okay. It's okay if it's extra, so that it
Yes,
won't harm.
exactly. So I think about 9, and then this is 10. So I'm going to go almost 15. Okay.
Which millet are you cooking, Chavi?
Barnyard.
Barnyard, okay.
Yeah. 11, 12.
Will this water be alkaline?
This is structured water. Yes, it is. Structured water is good enough. You know, the water that the city is giving, like I haven't tested it using the pH, but it's not like acidic. So now I'm going to put it here. You can't see. So I'm going to start. Okay. You can see it cooking. It's medium flame as here. See that? I've kept it on medium flame. Don't take it high. Keep it on medium and just let it cook. In the beginning, it can stick to the bottom. So we have to be careful that, the millet does not stick, and keep stirring it. And I already had sent the instructions that before you soak, grind it up. And the reason for that is that it's easier to drink. It becomes that texture is now coarse ground, so it's easier to drink it. And now I myself am finding it's very difficult to drink the whole grain. And Hitesh, you had asked this question, right? About Umbali with flour. So you can make Umbali, and this question has been answered already by Dr. Sarla in that conversation between Dr. Sarla and Dr. Khader, which you must have seen, where she says that, you can use flour, you can use the whole grain, or you can use rava style, coarse ground, to make Umbali. So, yeah.
I am making mine with the flour. So so mine is flour today because I want to have smoothie in the morning. So that's mine today.
So the smoothie, we will come to that smoothie, whether we should have smoothie or not. Why are we having Umbali in the first place? Umbali we are having because we want all those good microbes in our gut. Today, the fiber, so why going back to, now it's cooking, so I'm going to go back to talking a little about millets and keep stirring. So millets, why are they special today, and why is there such a huge and still rising number of diseases, right? Seems like there is no end. Everybody has a problem. So it's because, and even I have not grown up eating millet, by the way. I've been eating wheat and rice, mostly wheat, because coming from a Punjabi, family where we just had a lot of roti most of the time. So, but luckily the wheat was not toxic when we were eating all of that. So, and wheat per se there's nothing bad in it. But now wheat is full of glyphosate. It's been genetically modified, and it has become a reason for climate crisis also, because it's a water guzzler. So the problem rises when the whole world is eating only one grain or two grains, wheat or rice, right? And every snack in the market is made of wheat or rice. So that is why it becomes a problem. So millets with their grains, with their fiber. So having said that, even if wheat was acceptable, if you compare millets with wheat, the fiber of the millet is unique. First of all, millets, and when I say millets, it refers to the 5 small millets. So some of you have also posted, you get confused, which millet. So most of the time when I'm saying millet, I'm referring to siridhanya, small millets. And these are those 5 small millets: foxtail, barnyard, brown top, millet, kodo, and little millet. So each fiber is special. We know that there is 8 to 12.5 grams of fiber in 100 grams of each of these small millets. Brown top has the most fiber, 12.5 grams. Okay. And the rest of the millets, the neutral millets, ragi, jowar, bajra, the fiber content of that is way low. Like finger millet is 3.6. Okay, great millet is 1.3. Corn, which is also kind of same millet family, is 2.7. So pearl millet is 1.2. So you see the numbers are way, way low. So that is the reason these millets, nutrient millets, will not reverse diseases. But small millet will. And why? Because when we have small millets in two forms, when we ferment it, we are adding the microbes. And when we are not fermenting, we are eating it as rice, we still the fiber of it, there are fibers, there are soluble fibers, there are insoluble fibers, and there is starch, the carbohydrate itself, content of the carbohydrate. If this is the grain, the fiber goes up to the endosperm. It is not just in the outer layers, it goes right up to the endosperm. So it is tied so tightly with the carbohydrate that the release of the carbohydrate becomes very slow in the body when we eat. That is why glucose levels never rise. Most problems in the body today is because of rise in the glucose. And when we keep eating wheat and rice, we are constantly raising the blood sugar levels. And with millets, however amount you might eat, because of the integral structure, the way it is structured, it will never cause a glucose spike. And this has been borne out by renal tolerance tests, the sugar levels in your urine. So I'm going to keep stirring. If you're cooking, please keep an eye. So, and keep stirring. So, like when we cook lentils, the bubbles, they come up. So same thing happens. That's the phytic acid. Should we take it out as we do when we cook chole, rajma, right? We take it out because otherwise it causes more flatulence, bloatedness, and gas in the body. If you feel you want to, you can. So you can just take out, with this thing, just scoop out. Abhi to isme banani hai, it's still cooking. So you can take it out. But the phytic acid content of in small millets is way low. So it's not going to cause any distress. No. So now going back to the fiber. So the fiber, we know there is insoluble fiber, soluble fiber, and the starch. So all three, they are such, the quality of that in small millets is such that when it goes in our gut, first of all, we have stopped the release of glucose, right? Very slow and gradual release. So automatically, many problems, diseases that arise because of high glucose are cut off. So what are those diseases? Diabetes, high blood pressure. High blood pressure is not because of high salt. Usually doctor will tell you to stop eating salt or pickles. But as Dr. Khaler explains too, the root cause is because the blood becomes thick because of the sugar, like chashni. When you put sugar in water, the water becomes thick. Same thing happens in the body. When you're constantly putting sugar in your blood, it becomes thick. It becomes difficult for the heart to pump blood and to move the blood in the body. It has to exert harder, right? So the root cause of high blood pressure is not salt, it's sugar. So we have to cut down on the sugar. So next, when the fiber goes in the gut, what happens? And this is not even the microbe, Umbali. This is just the fiber of the millet going in your gut. Now, gut is where most of the microbes are. In fact, our immune system, 80% of our immune system is also there. Most of the serotonin that is made is also made in the gut. So it is a very, very, very important part of our body. Gut is also another way to look at it is, in Ayurveda, colon is a seat of Vata. All the Vata conditions come from there. So Vata is also the force that pushes things, that pushes disease. So in Ayurveda also, when we go with any trouble, the Ayurveda practitioner, the Acharya will tell you, ask about your bowel movements and focus on cleaning the gut. So that's because diseases are pushed from the gut. Problem usually starts from there. What you have eaten, then it has gone there and it has disturbed the microbial balance because most of our microbes are in the gut. Small millet fiber is food for the microbes, for the good microbes. So the more we feed the good microbes, the more they increase in number. It is as simple as that. The insoluble fiber, the the partially, the fiber, the part of the fiber which is hard to digest by the body is digested by these microbes. The end result of this digestive process, of the microbes eating the fiber, insoluble or partially soluble fiber, is what is called short chain fatty acids. Okay, SCFAs. So they're kind of fatty acids, which now the research is saying is responsible for a variety of conditions. So the more short chain fatty acids we have, the lesser the number of diseases. A range of physiological and biological functions are controlled by these short chain fatty acids. And each of these 5 small millet fiber cleans a special part, different parts of our body. The fiber of the millets, they are antioxidants, and according to him, the most powerful antioxidants on the planet. So the fiber is constantly making a positive charge. He calls it's called the proton, the PMF, proton motive force. So this positive charge is going and scavenging the negative charges, the negative morbid waste. I'm going to reduce the flame a little because it was too high. I mean, medium was also like, so now see, nothing is stuck at the bottom. It's cooking well. And I'm just going to stir it and leave it. So as you can see, so I was not constantly stirring. I'm also talking to you. I'm like, here and there. So you can do your other things in the house while the ambali is getting ready.
If you have children who are fussy eaters, for example, you want to make them adopt these, maybe millet-based food into their dietary plans.
Yeah.
How do you encourage or find ways to have the kids, adopt who are fussy?
Last 2 days, I have eaten it with I've sweetened it. I want to have a sweet. I guess I have a preference for sweet. So maple sugar, so use sweeteners which are not going to be taxing on the body. And those are palm jaggery, maple syrup. It tastes quite nice with maple syrup. Just today I had Godo. It was delicious actually. There are people who've experienced constipation eating millets. So for them, he says that, ambali is the first thing you have to start with. Whether you have something else prepared out of it or not, but ambali is a must because 50% of all conditions is because of microbial disruption and imbalance. Because look, think about all the foods that we have been having in the past. A lot of it, how much of it is really pure and fresh and organic? How much of it is out of packaged foods, bags, and not organic? And not organic, a lot of foods, by the way, are ridden with glyphosate. And glyphosate is an endocrine disruptor. Endocrine disruptor will also means also that it creates microbial imbalance in the gut. When we start thinking of these things, of what we have been eating, we'll realize that we have made a lot of mistakes, knowingly or unknowingly. Even I didn't know so many things in the past. I have also eaten, out of bags too, or thinking, this is safe. Everybody thinks, coming to the US, when I came, I looked at everything around and everything was so fancy and such perfectly packaged and beautiful. And you thought that they must have passed the tests by authorities, must have done their jobs, right? That they would not allow these if they were unsafe. But then now, soon I realized it doesn't work like that. The system doesn't work like that. There are many, and authorities who you trust are actually failing us. And we as common people have to do our own research and get informed and then make our choices. So having said that, with children, they have been brought up with those tastes, right? So now it will be difficult to transition, but that is the reason why we have this coast to coast, because, you have to try, you have to experiment, you have to make things that you will find tasty and your children will find tasty. You have to tell them, first of all, I don't know how willing they will be to listen, to why their problems are there. And, taste is, in the end, taste is a mental thing, it's in the mind. Our mind has to be trained about everything. Exercise, who likes exercising? But once you start exercising and you push your mind, then slowly you will enjoy it, and then you won't stop, right? You will do it every day. Same thing, like we develop habits, we acquire so many tastes, like cheese, wine, I think even alcohol, smoking. I mean, they're not good tasting. They don't like, do they like, but then the mind starts enjoying, taking pleasure in those things. So similarly, like start with transition, 2 days we will eat this, and or combine it with something else, and slowly, transition to this. And the recipes, how to make those tasty things, we'll be sharing. We'll be sharing in the group, and we are sharing on this coast to coast cooking. We'll cook together. We'll make a lot of things. We'll make cookies. We'll make poha, upma, all kinds of regular foods, or even Western, Mexican, Italian flavors. We'll go through all cuisines, and then you can learn how to make them, so that your children will enjoy it and you will enjoy it too. First of all, you have to make your system, you have to, replenish the microbes that you have lost, the good microbes. And you have to slowly get that glucose balance right. Umbali will address your microbial imbalance, and it will also address your glucose imbalance. Hormonal imbalance is caused by the not to eat items. Like you stop processed foods, you stop dairy, which is full of antibiotics, growth hormones, foods that are basically endocrine disruptors, chemicals are there in so many things. They are all endocrine disruptors. What does endocrine disruptor mean? It means something that causes hormonal imbalance, because hormones are made by endocrine glands. So when the endocrine glands for some reason are not functioning properly, that means we will move towards a state of hormonal imbalance. Do you see the value of the millets, the small millets? Is that becoming clearer, and why it's so important to have it? Great.
Yeah.
Does that answer your question?
Yes. It just comes down to like some way convincing, promoting, educating the kids to slowly start that option. It won't be a easy tab, but if you start what we say, institutionalizing that, habit by habit, little bit,
and let them see you having it first.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, have it. Have the Umbali. And now let me answer some of the Umbali related questions. The constipation. Okay, so Umbali, because it's so high in fiber, right? And you would think that it actually gets rid of the constipation, but your system is so imbalanced. So he says slowly as the microbes increase, because remember the microbes are also eating that fiber. So if your count of good microbes is low, then all that fiber will cause you a little distress. So you have to, before you can eat a lot of millet-based other dishes, you have to eat Umbali first, because you have to populate your gut with microbes. So it's a slow progression. You will get there. The constipation will go away. Umbali you can have, so drink it. Now why drink it and why not eat it? When you drink something, the stomach allows it passes through the stomach quickly. Because what is the stomach? What is happening in the stomach? In our stomach, the acid is being produced to digest food, right? But we don't want the acid to kill the microbes. And we want the microbes to reach where? We want the microbes to reach our gut, right? So that will happen only when we drink. Drinks stay in the stomach, he says 30 seconds to a minute. And that's why we need to drink Umbali and not eat.
So you drink Umbali plain, or you eat with some?
No, now Umbali plain will not be enjoyable at all. You're not going to drink it on day 2. You're not going to have it. So
true. I agree.
Yeah.
I would even question day 1. You start and then, okay, I'm going to just leave it on the side. Even day 1 is questionable.
You can make either have this jaggery, right? Palm jaggery or maple syrup, to make it sweet. Or you can, he says, you add thin fruit juice to your ambali to make it sweet. So that is another way to make it sweet. Okay. Now, juice does not have any fiber, does not have any solids. So it is not going to stay in your stomach. The moment you put something which in the ambali, which will retain it in the stomach, then you are reducing the microbial capacity, the population, the volume of microbes that passes into your intestines. So have your ambali not with sabji and all, like food with chammach and thick ambali. It has to be thin ambali with thin additions. For those of you who face constipation, try ambali with these additions: with cumin seed powder, with hing, kala namak, and little dhania patta for taste. And keep having it, and your system should settle down in a few days. Some people have.
So what time you take it? In the morning, afternoon, or it doesn't matter?
Yeah, no, it matters. So you have to have it not with, you have to have it before food. So you have it, if you are having it between meals, then just by itself, that's great. I just had 5 o'clock, and otherwise you can have it before meal and then wait 5 minutes and then you have your khana, whatever you're eating, whether it is millet based or whatever. Okay. But make sure you're having the ambali before your food. Okay, so time to stir it again. Look, it's already thickening.
So it's okay to take it with empty stomach early in the morning?
Yes. Yes, you
Yes.
can take it early in the morning, empty stomach.
I take it every morning. Every morning is my
What,
ambali.
ambali?
That's every morning. I have it every morning.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we add thin buttermilk? Very thin.
Good reminder. No, you cannot have buttermilk.
No?
Okay.
That's because the microbial profile of buttermilk is different. So there are so many different strains of microbes, right? So the ones in buttermilk will dominate. And
I think this is a bummer, Chavi, because see, if you have to drink with just ambali, with those things, it is too difficult to drink.
Depending upon your choice, whether you like sweet, whether you favor sweet or salty, you can decide this. By the way, how much ambali to have? Minimum
250 ml.
Okay. If there is a chronic condition or serious condition, then ambali has to be had all 3 times. So I'm having this. This is little more than 250. And I added 1 tablespoon maple syrup. But you can choose to go the savory way, the route. And it's tasty. You will like it. And because it's not full grain, you won't enjoy. So it's another little small step in your work to do, but it is worth it. When you soak it, I just put it in the blender, just pulse mode it and make sure that it's ground. You're not doing a fine powder or anything. You're just doing a coarse ground, and then pour it back. Some of it will be stuck in your blender, but put some water in it and just put it in this and just cover it and keep it for 10 hours. So that's it. And now another thing, why smoothie? You said whether can we have it as a smoothie? So
are we going to talk about how to ferment this? Or that is what is the fermentation of
fermentation
soaking?
is cooking. No, soaking is not fermentation.
Right, exactly.
Soaking is making it ready. Why are you soaking?
To get basically it swells up the fiber, I guess.
Remember, the fiber is going all the way to the endosperm. So to make it digestible to our body, which is not so used to having these high fiber foods because of the poor eating habits, we have to soak. It becomes especially hard, but anybody, even otherwise who's used to, follows this practice of soaking the millet first. Now, why is it? There was one of you asked, some of you have asked this question, how long to soak, right? So the small millets, the siri dhanya, which are high in grain, have to be soaked for 8 to 10 hours. But the other millets, your ragi, jowar, bajra, ragi is finger millet, right? So it has 3.6. Notice it has only 3.6 gram fiber. And your pearl millet has only 1.2 gram fiber versus 8 to 12 and a half. See the difference in the numbers? So the amount of fiber in ragi, jowar, bajra, which are neutral millets, is way less. So you don't have to soak these grains for that long. But small millets, because the fiber content is so high, and because you want the system to absorb that and to be able to digest well, we have to soak it for 8 to 10 hours.
I just had a quick question for Geeta. So Geeta, you have this first thing in the morning. So is that your breakfast, or if you have to eat something after that, what would be a good
No,
time?
that's my breakfast. Because I eat that and I go to work. I wanted to know why smoothie. What's
Okay, anybody wants to take a stab at it? Should we have smoothie or not?
No, I think you should not.
Why?
Because when you kind of make a smoothie, you blend it to a level where you kind of disintegrate, you kind of lose the potency of the soluble or insoluble or partially soluble fiber, which gives you the most benefit.
Now, if it is too high speed and all those like the blenders are, it will denature. It will change the nature of that material. But not necessarily the fiber content. It's not so easy, because flour. Remember the flour, we are using flour also, right? So, but the flour is not being made in the Blendtec or the Vitamix high speed. The flour is made in a mill, where the pressure may be there, but the temperature is not high. So it does not denature the grain. So the blenders can denature your the product, whatever is being put in it. You get 50%. So, but
I'll
you
take that
not
every
take
time.
the smoothie, but you did not touch the other important part. Does anybody else? Do you know what is the other part that's missing?
Yeah, it doesn't digest. I mean, it doesn't go through the stomach directly.
That's another 50%. Yes, good. Remember, he says fruit juice, not this fruit, the whole fruit like a banana or peanut butter, because that will hold up. That will go and sit in your stomach for a while, which means what?
It's the fuel for the microbiome.
Less microbes.
Yes.
We won't have enough population of the good microbes.
Yes. So no smoothie.
So even if you, let me ask you a question. Even if you grind the banana separately and you mix it with the millet?
No, because it will still, the point is it will go and hold up. It will stay in the stomach longer. A drink will pass in 30 seconds. But your banana, whether it is mashed or whatever, it is still going to go and sit in your stomach for longer. If millet is going with it, the fermented millet is going with your banana, it will sit in the stomach for more than 30 seconds or 1 minute. Which means...
All right, there goes my smoothie.
Yeah, no smoothie.
See, that's the thing. This conversation we had with Dr. Kadavali about the smoothie, that was long time back.
I would say there is a solution for this one, isn't it? You have the drink, and then after 5 minutes, you have the separate smoothie. So let it pass.
Correct. So that is allowed. Right. After 5 minutes to change your taste.
Right. You can have,
but that's you can have your smoothie, but 5 minutes after this drink is better.
Yes. Right. Now I have to think about maple syrup. I have to add the maple syrup. Banana was my sweet to make my Umbali sweet. So, which is fine. Now I know the correct way.
Are we going to take a test after this?
If you want, yes. Some people have loose motions with Umbali. Now, what is the answer to that? So the answer is that you change the type of millet every day. Instead of having 2 days, he says, have it daily, a different one. Okay. And then after having the Umbali, 5 minutes after that, eat something made out of that millet. So if you're having foxtail millet Umbali, you have foxtail millet prepared in another way, whether it is roti or rice or whatever way. Okay. So and loose motion is good. He says your system is getting cleaned out. Colon is getting cleaned. But to stop it in a few days, you have to follow this process. Change your type of millet daily. And after 5 minutes of Umbali, eat something made out of that same millet. Whether with sabji, dal, whatever.
Chavi, wasn't it one type of millet 2 times, like 2 days?
But for loose motions, you will not do that. He said,
just
if you have loose motions, then you change every day till your system stabilizes.
Okay, got it.
In one of the meeting, this was long time back when I asked to have these things, and she said 10 weeks straight you eat Umbali, just Umbali, nothing else. So that means morning, afternoon, evening, just Umbali. There is no other food, right?
Yeah. No, you can have other food. I specifically asked him, like in chronic conditions, you say that you have to have ambali all the time, all the 3 meals, multiple times, right? Only ambali. So he says that after ambali, again, the same thing. After you drink ambali, give a 5-minute gap and then you eat, like in loose motions, right? Loose motions, you're changing every day. But if you're following, say, any protocol for a disease, you don't have to change every day. For if it's a chronic condition, you can follow the protocol, but again, have any dish made out of the same grain. Okay, but make sure, he says, to drink ambali each time before you eat. And cancer patients, he says, though they have to drink ambali all 3 times, it has to be made fresh. All the 3 times, it has to be made fresh. You don't let it ferment. And he's given in that talk with Dr. Sarla, right, that how long to keep your ambali. You keep it for as long as it takes to set the curd, to make the curd in your region. Like here, it takes, dahi is ready. I mean, I make curd, it's ready in 10 hours. So that's the time it should take for your ambali, and then have it. In India, when it's very hot, it'll spoil. But here, it does not spoil. The taste does not change or smell so quickly. But yeah.
I have a question. How does one know that ambali is fermented?
The time it takes to make your dahi.
Even though it doesn't change the
no.
color or anything?
No,
okay.
Yeah, no, Geeta, I think this is what I have observed. So you will find a fine, thin, white layer on the top.
Right. No, I was just wondering. I don't know if anybody knew about this or not. That's why I put that question.
Thin layer will come anyways. Yeah, like when I make this ambali, when it's ready, it depends upon, see, you saw I was scooping out, right? So,
right.
So that phytic acid or whatever it is, so if you take out most of it, the thin layer, the layer will not be so thick. The texture changes.
Right.
It has set, fermented. But in ambali, there is no such visible change or physical change. But the time it takes for dahi to happen set will be the time it takes for the millet to ferment. So you can have.
For making dahi, I put it in the warm oven. Can I put it in there?
In the warm oven? Yeah, because it won't be hot. Yes, you can put it. If dahi is getting set, your ambali will also be fine in that temperature.
Okay. To ferment it, all we are going to do it is just like put it in a clay pot or something in a warm area.
It's already in a clay pot. It's getting cooked. And I don't keep it in a warm area. I just keep it on my kitchen counter.
Covered?
Right here, I'll show you.
Covered like covered or not?
I will keep it right here. And yeah, it has a lid. My thing has a lid with a hole.
Okay.
See this hole, which will allow the passage of microbes.
Air.
Otherwise, take a cotton cloth.
Okay.
Cotton cloth and cover it. Yeah, exactly. Like Geeta's showing.
I put a rubber band around it, so it's easier. My pot is a little smaller.
So based on our area of how long it takes for the dahi to be made, like 10 hours or 9.
Yeah. So now, how long to eat ambali? That depends on the condition. If it is a chronic condition that you've had for a long time, then you have to have it for a longer period. And why longer period? Nothing. Now we go back to the little bit of science of it. Now we know that every cell in our body is changing. It's getting replaced. It dies and is renewed, replaced, right? So we know skin cells die daily. So there is like turnover of cells is different in different parts of the body. The blood is also very quick in a week or whatever it is, right? So when we are taking millets, these small millets with ambali, and the system is getting cleaned out, okay, and we are not taking the disruptors, items which damage. So these things have to go together. You can't eat ambali and millets and keep having what he has said don't have, right? Because on one side you're stopping the leak, the other side you're digging a hole another place. So you have to do together for benefit to happen. So for the body, the cells that come, the new cells that are then generated will be the right, clean, optimally functioning, well balanced in a state of homeostasis cells. When all the cells in our body are cleaned and renewed, have been replaced, all the bad cells, there will not be any disease. And after that, so you have to keep taking your millet and ambali till your entire body gets cleaned out. Now, this cell renewal process is different. From one day, it takes up to 7 years or whatever, right? For the liver cell, it takes 7 years. So you don't have to keep eating, but ambali will become part of your life. Once you start eating ambali, you're not going to stop having it when you experience the benefits. So whether you are healthy or not healthy, you will keep having, because you need the microbes in your gut always, right? So you might take it for, after if all the conditions are gone, you might take it for 3 or 4 times a week. Or you might take it like, 1 glass on a daily basis. I'm going to keep it drinkable. See, it's runny, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I want it. So it will thicken a little after it is cooled down. So I have stopped it. I've stopped cooking, and now I'm going to lift it and I'm going to just keep it here. So it's hot. So that's it. And now when it cools down, there's a lot of, it's still very hot. When it cools down, when the smoke stops, I'm going to cover it, and then it'll be ready tomorrow morning.
Okay.
It's not ambali right now. It will become ambali tomorrow after the fermentation has taken place. So this was so simple. Was it difficult or was it doable?
It's very doable, but thing is that every day you make it, then like every day in the evening you make it for the morning.
Yes.
Every day. Mm-hmm.
You have to do it every day. And
even
so
you are eating like same millet 3 days, so you still make it every day. You can't keep this one in refrigerator and use it next.
No, you can't. You have to make it fresh, because then the process of fermentation never stops.
But like when I used to do 3 times every day, just wanted to have just ambali. So I would make enough for morning and lunch, but then I would make dinner fresh. So I would do that in the morning and then let it ferment and have it for dinner. But then if in case by accidentally you guys have put it in the fridge, don't throw it. You can eat it like that, as not as an ambali, but have it as your regular millet, whatever you want. But don't throw it, because you can mix it with dal, sabji, and eat it like normal.
And maybe then make your smoothie.
No more dates either. I can't even put dates. I thought silver dates were okay.
You can use fruit juice if you want, Geeta.
Fruit juice, like what do you mean by fruit juice? That was my
like
next
grape
question.
juice, apple juice, or
I don't even have any fruit juice at home.
Make it.
I was like so.
No, not store bought. You have to make.
That's the thing. That's another. Yeah, but I'll have maple syrup.
You make the ambali and let it ferment. In the morning, after the fermentation is done, then you can add salt. And he mentioned something like you can do tadaka, right? With tadaka, you can put whatever you want to do.
Yes,
you can still do that. You can still do that.
Add that tadaka into it, but not too hot or something. Make it warm and add it.
My husband doesn't want to lose weight, so he said no millet for me. So what do you have to say?
You reach a balance. You don't lose weight unnecessarily. You will not lose weight, or you won't become, you won't gain weight. It will be, and he has a protocol also, losing and gaining weight. You can look at that protocol.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how does the process change if I'm using a millet flour as opposed to the raw millets?
No, the process is the same. Just make it thin so it's drinkable.
But I don't have to soak the flour that long.
Is that flour already pre-soaked?
Good question. Yeah, I should check. I think it said pre-soaked dried flour.
If it is pre-soaked, then you don't have to soak it. But if it is not, then you have to soak it.
Okay. I think it is better to soak for 2 hours, because my Madhu says, because when you're soaking it for the fibers to open up, right? When you're drying it and then making the powder, then it is better to soak at least 2 hours.
Okay.
Before making, at
least.
Makes sense. Not 6 to 8 hours like the grain, but flour you can just soak for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So that's what I do when when I come from work and I know I have to make Umbali. I'll soak my same one that I've already soaked and dried off and put in a container. I just soak it maybe, I don't go up to 2 hours, but maybe an hour to 30 minutes. That's mine. And I haven't had any issue with that. So sometimes I don't have enough time to soak it for 2 hours, or I forget. But I know for an hour for sure while I'm cooking dinner, my grain is already being soaked.
Yeah, few questions actually. So you mentioned the quantity to be around 250 ml for the Umbali?
Minimum, yeah.
Minimum 250 ml. And this is, after you cook, you measure 250 ml and you can have. But what about for kids? To be specific, what about for a 7-year-old or 11-year-old kid? Is that quantity okay?
Yeah, you can give a little less if you want.
Okay.
Yeah, but 250 is not going to, it's not going to cause any harm. So if the child can have it happily, then to let them have it. But if initially they are making little fuss about it, but you have to make it tasty for them. So whatever that they like, make juice out of that, or maple syrup, you can try that and see how it goes with them.
So there is, just to confirm this, so my millet flour, what was the ratio? Because you showed your little tiny bowl that for 2 people.
Yeah.
Right. So what I remembered, it was 2 to 3 spoonfuls of flour so is that still the same or has it changed now?
No, it should be, it's fine. You can have more or not is not going to be problematic. But less will not be sufficient. I hope this was useful for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope you're also not just useful, you're inspired to make it. It's not difficult. It is doable. If you are dealing with a condition, we have to have these small millets. And if we are finding it difficult to have it in rice or other form, remember it is because the system is not in balance and the microbial balance is missing, which can be corrected only with Umbali. That is the long and short of it. Umbali, drinkable Umbali. When your system is stabilized, you have enough, then start adding other dishes.
Right.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much for updating us.